A special thank you to our luncheon sponsors, Definitive Logic, Tetra Tech, CGI, Azimuth Corporation, Green Tree Group, Danae Source, a DDC company, Cloud Lake, Macalogic, Insperity, and PE Systems. Without these sponsors, we would not be able to provide STEM scholarships and educational materials for our youth. I'd like to mention a couple of upcoming events. Later today, we have a happy hour at the Dayton Beer Company, and hope that you all join us for that event. And our summer luncheon series will be in person at the Hilton Garden Inn. So we're excited to bring back our in-person luncheons and hope that you'll join us for those. We also have later in the year our annual golf outing, casino night, and Wright IT Summit, and the agendas are almost finalized for those. So mark your calendars, and we do still have some sponsorship opportunities available for those events. So if you have any questions on sponsorship or when registration opens, please reach out to anyone on the executive team. Please register on our website and like our LinkedIn page to get all the updates on what's happening in our chapter. I'd like to now turn the floor over to our chapter president, Yvonne Vermillion, for some special announcements. Over to you, Yvonne.
Thanks, Joni. If you can go to the next slide, I just wanted to let everyone know that we do have a lot of volunteer opportunities available within the chapter. If anyone is interested in getting more involved, please reach out, let me know. We have opportunities to plan networking events, participate in the golf or casino night or the conference planning. We have a big conference coming up in September, the Wright IT Summit. We also have some other events that you could get involved in. If you're interested in promoting the value to our potential members, our membership team is always looking for volunteers to help out there. If you have some ideas on how to give back to the community, we do a lot of volunteer work. Could we really use some support there? If you want to identify some opportunities to give back. We did a charity event last December where we raised a lot of diapers and wipes and things for the women's shelter. And just last week, our emerging leaders led an effort to volunteer at One Bistro. It is a pay what you can restaurant in Xenia, Ohio, and our members volunteered to serve the community meal, and our chapter actually paid for that meal. We also have opportunities for you to support professional development and education. We are in the process of reviewing a bunch of scholarships applications that were submitted for Dan Curtis Scholarship, our Wolfenbarger Scholarship, and several undergraduate scholarships we have. We also have a professional development team that's looking at being able to provide funding and financial support for professional development and education. Could use support there. And of course, if you are a young professional, definitely want to get you out and support and get more involved in the Emerging Leaders Program. They do a lot of speakers, about once a quarter networking events and volunteer activities. So that's always a good thing to get involved in. So just reach out to Joni and I if you've got an interest. We could really use your support. Next slide. I wanted to just start off today's luncheon by recognizing two folks that really helped out our chapter last year. They are previous members of our membership committee, Rob Chevlot and Ian Bobbitt. Ian was instrumental in making strides in creating our AFCEA student chapter locally, and Rob was in charge of our corporate memberships and worked with industry to establish and renew their corporate memberships and get them assigned to our chapter. So I just want to personally thank both Ian and Rob with a President's Award today and recognition of all your support to our chapter. Thank you. The next slide. Not just locally have we been recognized, and we have some great people, but AFCEA International has also recognized us and our folks from our chapter have actually taken home 9 AFCEA International awards. The chapter swept the entire small business category this year, which is just unprecedented. It's just unbelievable. So I want to take a minute to congratulate JGR Solutions for winning our small business Business of the Year award. I think David Hart is online representing him. Billy Grill with Ohio PTAC for winning the Small Business Advocate of the Year. I think Billy's on too today. Jim Masonbrink at WBI for winning Small Business Person of the Year with Industry. And our presenter today, our very own presenter today, Mr. Luke Schultz, who won Small Business Person of the Year for Government. So thank you, Luke. Thank you all of our small business advocates, and thank you for all that you do for small business and our chapter. Over to you, Johnny.
Thanks, Yvonne, and congratulations to all of our folks. Recognition is a small piece of appreciation to all those who constantly do volunteer opportunities where these positions are not paid. So congratulations to everyone. I'd now like to introduce our distinguished panel members. Mr. Luke Schultz is the Director of Small Business Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. The organization is responsible for overseeing reviews of approximately $36 billion in center procurements and maximizing small business opportunities across AFLCMC. The center supports acquisition by the AFLCMC program executive officers and directorates with 6 small business offices across operating locations. Prior to his current assignment, Mr. Schultz served as the Chief of Pricing Division, Air Force Installation Contracting Agency, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center. He led a 12-person staff that provided pricing support to a worldwide organization of 750 personnel, responsible for a total contract portfolio of $55 billion. AFICA contracting authority and support extends across 8 major commands and their 77 operational contracting squadrons across the globe. Our next panel member is Jeffrey Emmons, who is the Small Business and Disadvantaged Business Utilization Specialist and Director of the United States Air Force Lifecycle Management Center Small Business Programs at Hanscom Air Force Base. He is the primary advocate for promoting contracting with small businesses at AFLCMC Hanscom. He identifies various small business opportunities and recommends course of action to the Hanscom Air Force acquisition community. Additionally, he advises small businesses as to whether there is a market for their products or services, and if so, ways to optimize their opportunity to participate. Mr. Emmons assumed his present position of Director of Small Business Programs in 2018. Our next panel member is Anita Jackson, who is the Director of Small Business Programs for Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. She manages the small business program for the base, which includes 4 of the Air Force Material Command's 6 centers: Air Force Test Center, Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center, and the Air Force Research Laboratory. She has served 34 years with the Department of Defense. Over 20 of those years as a contracting officer for the Air Force, the Missile Defense Agency, and the Defense Intelligence Agency. Our last panel member, Ms. Yolanda McCain, is the newest Director of Small Business Programs, Air Force Lifecycle Management Center Program Executive Officer for Business and Enterprise Systems, PEO BES at Maxwell Air Force Base, Gunter, Montgomery, Alabama. The BES organization is comprised of 120 programs valued at nearly $1 billion annually. Ms. McCain serves as the Chief Advisor to the PEO on all aspects of small business matters. She is charged with overseeing small business acquisition policy, outreach, strategic initiatives, and advocacy for small businesses. Ms. McCain facilitates, counsels, and mentors various businesses by providing advice regarding acquisition procedures, information regarding upcoming opportunities, interpretation of standard clauses, representations, and certifications. Ms. McCain has 14 years of experience in contracting and small business supporting the Department of Defense. If you will be attending MITS, I'm sure Ms. Yolanda McCain will be there to greet us all. Please put all of your questions in the chat. If there is time at the end, those questions will be addressed. Otherwise, Luke and his team will follow up afterwards. I will now hand the floor over to you, Luke.
Okay, great. Can you hear me okay, Joni?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having us again. Really like seeing that chart of all the small business award winners, JGR Solutions, Billy Grill and Jim Masonbrink. And then really, I have just a phenomenal team that does great work and very thankful for them. Usually you'll hear me talk, but I thought it would be great to bring my small business directors at the other operating locations to kind of give you some of the stuff they're working on, some of the small business opportunities, industry days coming up, and just kind of put a face, hopefully a face with a name. I was having issues logging on, of course. Joni was like, "Hey, do you want to test it out?" I'm like, "Ah, don't worry, we do this enough." And of course, for some reason I had issues at the beginning. So I'll go ahead and press through these slides then. Next slide, please. Was it on the next slide, Joni?
I'm on slide 2 of your presentation of who
Okay.
we are.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, there it goes. Sorry, I was having system delays. So this just kind of gives you a lowdown of who we are as Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, located headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, one of 6 centers under Air Force Material Command. And then it just goes to show that we do inception to retirement, from a weapons system standpoint, and list the various PEOs that we have. You can see it up there. And then also at each base, we have operational contracting that helps out. Next slide, please. Okay, this next one is, core purpose is to support the warfighter and encourage the program executive offices and non-PEOs to seek and consider small business. We advise on requirements, and one of the big things that we do is promoting effective in-reach and outreach programs. In-reach is more of your training, and then outreach is kind of like an event like this, or one of our bigger outreach events, which is for Air Force Lifecycle Management Centers. The Lifecycle Industry Day is coming up, and we really push for the mission while promoting small business alternatives. Next chart, please. Okay, this next chart just shows the team. You can see Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the list, Miss Sarah Chafe, Mobility Training Aircraft, PZI, IT, and Specialized. She has quite a bit of experience with SIBR and SITR. She was at Air Force Research Labs. Miss Alicia Drains, she does PO, Business and Enterprise Systems, and then helps out with a lot of the IT and specialty stuff. Miss Kendra Ephraim, she's with AFSAC and then PZI operational. Miss Jennifer Gallagher, she does PZI IT and then PZIO or operational, and then also is responsible for the EPAS program, which is services. Mr. Kevin Parks, Presidential Executive Airlift, Agile Combat Support, and then propulsion. And then Miss Kelly Stamper does Rapid Sustainment Office, IRSR SOF, bombers, fighters and advanced aircraft. Then as you go up, you can see at Hanscom, we'll have Jeff Emmons speak after I'm done. He does PO Digital, C3INN, and then his deputy, which is new, is Andrea Panagoulis. Then we have a location in Ohio too, about 2 hours away, off Metcal, Kathy Vicar and Mike Hickey. They support precision measuring instruments, metrology. Then further down at Maxwell-Gunter, Yolanda McCain. And further down from that is Miss Anita Jackson, and then her deputy, Rochelle Gasper. And then we also have a small business professional, Zakia Norris or Z Norris, located at Lackland, that reports to Jeff. One of the things that's not included on this chart is there's some leadership changes. So the other various operating locations for Air Force Lifecycle Management Center, at Tinker, specifically Tracy Nicholson is the small business director there. She's going to be retiring at the end of this month. So she will be retiring at the end of the month. Is just a wealth of information, does Tinker and the Primes, just a great mentor, great friend. So in the interim, when she retires, until her replacement gets in there, with which they're working on that now, Mr. Tim Inman will be assuming responsibilities, and he's located down at Robbins. So he'll have that responsibility too. So he'll be extremely busy. Then up at Hill, it used to be, well, it still is Mr. James Dean, or JD, as we call him and know him. He'll be rotating out, I believe, probably in the next probably next month or two, and they'll have a replacement for that. So kind of some changes in the senior leadership from a small business perspective. But we'll work closely with them, and also with Air Force Material Command with Mr. Jeff Malott to make sure we transition those individuals in and they're up to speed on everything that's going on.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
Okay, next chart then. Okay, this just shows the AFLCMC small business influence for 21. AFLCMC is 74% of AFMC's total spend. And then AFMC is 76% of the Department of Air Force total spend. Last year, I know you guys have heard me say this before, it was a record year for us, $4.8 billion in small business spend. And we account for 51% of Air Force Materials Command's small business spend. You can see the other centers, Nuke Weapons Center, Air Force Research Labs, the Sustainment Center, the Test Center, and then Installation Mission Support Center. Next chart, please. These are just some pointers for small businesses that we like to put out there. Respond to sources sought, synopsis, RFIs, and draft RFPs. It's very important on this. Even if you're awarded a multiple award contract, an IDIQ, make sure you respond to the request for information and comment on the draft RFPs or FOPers. Just make sure they're aware that you're interested. Make sure your SAM is accurate, current, complete. Also look into teaming to strengthen your capabilities. There's a lot of other businesses out there that are looking for small businesses that do great work and have innovative solutions. Once the next one, subcontracting opportunities. Once you get those, make sure you perform well. It's really key that you do that because everyone's looking for top tier small businesses. Next one, attend industry days. Make sure you're involved. Consult your local PTAC and Small Business Administration Procurement Center representative. Our local PTAC is Mr. Billy Grill. He's just a wealth of information, helps out quite a bit. And then, Bill Cox too. Our Small Business Administration Procurement Center representative is Mr. Tom Kruzmark or Dr. Kruzmark. Everyone's aware of him. He covers a 10-state area. Next one, contracting opportunities. Look at sam.gov for those opportunities. I know Billy Grill did a great presentation, Collider, on sam.gov, and I think he did a follow-up one for kind of advanced sam.gov, and I know he's keeping up to date on all the latest and greatest changes there. Know the rules of federal government contracting. Make sure you submit well-prepared quotes and proposals. Take your time. Make sure you look over on them. Double check when the proposals are due and the delivery message and the delivery of those, how they're going to be delivered, to make sure you're all set. And then that last thing down there is our biggest upcoming event, which we're very excited about, is that Life Cycle Industry Days, which is August 10th through the 12th. The 2 days, August 10th and 11th, we'll have a lot of great speakers, great panels. And then that following day is one-on-ones with the program executive offices and the functionals. And also I'll be there too at Life Cycle Industry Days. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. Don't worry, you don't have to follow me into the bathroom or anything like that. I'll be available anytime that you'd like to talk. If for some reason you don't get a meeting set up on Friday. I know I just spoke with Miss Watern recently, and we're hoping to get the other, I haven't told, well, this is kind of telling them now, but we're hoping to get the other small business directors at the other operating locations up for Life Cycle Industry Dates, because that is our big premier event here. So looking forward to that. Next chart, please. This just lays out various opportunities that kind of highlighted. You can see agile manufacturing, condition-based maintenance, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Those are huge things. Automation, the digital environment. They're really pushing that digital transformation. AFMC has that great website, not only for government, but then also for contractors. Currently, I can't really talk about the NASIC stuff because they're currently in source selection. We have our Try, Decide, Buy program, which is looking for those innovative commercial technologies. And then our another big one is our services, which is ePass. I know Yolanda will talk about the SB's contract and BS and the Smart Guide, and then also operational. Next chart, please. Okay, this just shows the websites where you can reach us. We have our Wright-Patterson Air Force Base site. You can access that site, and we have a capability database kind of like in the middle of it that you can click on and upload your capability statement that both contractors can see, and then also government personnel. So it's a great place to put your information and the NAICS that you operate under. The other thing, okay, next chart, please. The other website I was going to tell you is just the research labs, and they have a great layout on their website. This is how you can reach me. Our org box is up there, and then also my email address. That's my work number at the desk. Also, what I'm also doing is, if you need to reach me and for some reason you can't get a hold of me or anything, here's my work cell phone number that I just put in the meeting chat. It's a big part to make sure that we're available and help small business out and get you the necessary contacts that you need. Okay. And then I believe the next chart is Mr. Jeff Emmons. I'll go ahead and kick it over to you, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you very much, Luke. My name is Jeff Emmons. As Luke mentioned, I'm the Director of Small Business Programs here at Hanscom Air Force Base. We provide support to Mr. Wirt in the PEO Digital Directorate, Lieutenant General Select Schmidt in the C3INN Directorate, as well as Scott Hardiman here in the NC3 Directorate. And we're also responsible for the Survivable Air Operations Center out of the PEO Presidential and Executive Airlift. We also support AZS here, which is composed of 2 branches. And that one branch is for advisory and assistance services, and that would be the EPASS follow-on efforts going on right now. We share some of those with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and their AZS is doing some of those other competitions right now. And by the way, small business set-asides. And that we also, the other branch there at AZS is handles the MITRE contract, and that, as well as MIT Lincoln Lab, Carnegie Mellon, and the Georgia Tech Research Institute. We approximately those, and in addition to that, PZI, the base contracting shop here at Hanscom, we provide support to them. Overall, we do about $10 billion in total obligation authority, and last year, of that, 1.4 billion was awarded directly to small business. Those organizations are composed of about 500 programs are included and projects within those. Also, some major events coming up that you can put on your calendar is the annual New Horizons that hosted by the DWAFCEA Boston and Concord chapter here. No date set, but that will be next spring. And in addition to that, there will be a small business panel here organized by this office, either before or after that event. And with that now, I'll turn it over to Yolanda.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Yolanda McCain, Small Business Director here at Gunter, Air Force PEO BES. Mr. Richard Aldrich is the PEO. Here at BES, we operate, we integrate, and innovate IT capabilities that support every airman and every guardian every day. Our portfolio consists of 120 programs, doing about $1 billion annually, 2 million users, and 80 distinct customer entities. Here at BES, we run the systems that run the Air Force. Some of the common NAICS that we have here at BES are 541-330, 541-511, 541-512, 541-519, 541-611, and 517-311. Our small business office goal or mission really is to champion small businesses and their ability to provide relevant solutions to meet the needs of the warfighter by advocating for acquisition strategies that provide that maximum opportunity for small business to participate. Here at PEO BES, our small business achievements for FY21 include achieving or exceeding our small business overall goal. We achieved 53.02%. The goal was 48.17%. And as the breakdown within each of the individual categories under those small business goals, BES exceeded those goals in each of the categories. Total obligations, dollars, $639,770,000. $639,770,666. That's the total obligations, and the small business obligations were $339,198,272. For FY22, our small business goals are 51.57%. So a little bit about the Small Business Office here at BES, my role and what we do. We advise and we mentor small business industry partners. We advocate, again, for small business strategies that provide opportunity for participation by our small business industry partners, serve as that first point of contact for BES. We provide training, mentoring opportunities, facilitate introduction and connection of industry partners as requested. And then we advise on upcoming opportunities, coordinate and on inquiries, and provide guidance as requested. We also promote outreach programs, and those include industry days, matchmaking events, and training and mentoring opportunities. Upcoming here at BES, I would like to make everyone aware of our Vendor Industry Day that will be held on 25 May, so next Wednesday from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and that will be at the conclusion of the Montgomery IT Summit. So some of the opportunities that we have here at BES, you can find those opportunities by linking to the BES vendor in communications page, and that address is www.airforcebes.af.mil/BES vendor com 2 M's /. Those opportunities can also be viewed at the Small Business Office page, which is www.airforcebes.af.mil/small-business-office. To highlight a couple of opportunities here at BES, one of our larger, we have a large IDIQ, the SBs, as we commonly refer to it, but it's a Small Business Enterprise Application Solutions IDIQ. And this SB's IDIQ provides access to a wide range of IT services and solutions that support the IT lifecycle. It's available for use by the Air Force, BES, as well as other organizations and throughout DoD. It is a mandatory use vehicle for the BES portfolio, but it is preferred use for other organizations throughout DoD. The vehicle has a $13.4 billion ceiling on it. The NAICS code is 541511, so custom computer programming services. There are 19 awardees on the SB's IDIQ. It supports contract types that are fixed price, cost reimbursable, time and material, and labor hour. The ordering period began in 2019 and it goes through December 2029, and performance goes through December of 2034. And of course, it is a small business set aside. Other opportunities that exist within the BES portfolio, I'll just highlight a couple for time's sake, but again, I would refer you to the BES vendor page. The LogMod and Base Expeditionary Planning Tool, that is anticipated to be an 8A competitive acquisition. It will be awarded sometime in 2023, first quarter of 2023. Right now is the anticipated schedule for that acquisition. There's also the Enterprise Architectural Services. It is anticipated to be an 8A competitive award. That would be an award date of fourth quarter FY22. Another opportunity to look forward to or to investigate further will be the Program Budget and Enterprise Systems, so PBAS. The acquisition approach is TBD, but that will be coming for fourth quarter of FY22 as well. Again, there are many more opportunities within the BES Smart Guide, and I would encourage everyone to visit that website or visit the BES Small Business Office page to view those opportunities. And then if there are opportunities you're interested in, please reach out to myself. My contact information is yolanda.mccain@us.af.mil, and I will put that information in the chat. Thank you, and I will pass on to Ms. Anita Jackson.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good afternoon. I have switched back and forth from Chrome to Edge and back to Chrome, and I keep getting the screens going out telling me, oops, something has happened, but it comes back. So I'm just going to keep talking, and if it goes out and comes back, hopefully you can catch up with me where I'm at. I am the Director of Small Business here at Eglin Air Force Base in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. For AFLCMC, we have the Weapons SPO down here in Florida, and we call it the Armament Directorate. I'm going to try to go through this briefing without using any acronyms unless I explain them, because I know it's hard to keep track of Air Force acronyms. So here at the Armament Directorate, we have five different First division is the Direct Attack Division. They're responsible for the small diameter bombs 1 and 2, the Joint Direct Attack Munition, we call it JDAM, the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, which is the MOP, and we also have a foreign military sales section of that division that supports the small diameter bomb 1 and 2 sales to our foreign allies. The second division is the Air Dominance Division. It's responsible for the Advanced Medium Range Air-to-Air Missile, the AMRAAM, and also Aerial Targets Program. Within this division, there's a foreign military sales team as well that supports AMRAAM sales to our foreign allies. The third division is the Long Range System Division, and this division is responsible for Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile, or JASSM, and the LORASM, which was developed for the U.S. Navy. The fourth division is the Agile Weapons Division, which also is the hypersonics team, and they're responsible for Air Rapid Response Weapon, the ARROW, which is a hypersonic missile, and also the Stand-in Attack Weapon, the SAW. This division, the fifth division is it's brand new. It's called the Disruptive Futures Division. They're still working on their organizational goals and direction. It's just now stood up, but for the other four divisions, they're either in developmental phase, production, or deployment phase, or even sustainment phase. But the Disruptive Futures Division is brand new, and they are focused on digital acquisition and sustainment. As far as opportunities go, award IDIQ contract that we affectionately call EWAC. It stands for the Eglin-wide Agile Acquisition Contract. There are currently 114 contracts with a 10-year ordering period. And of those 104, the value of the 114 contracts is $46 billion. That's the ceiling on the IDIQ. The first 55 contracts were awarded in September of last year. We were able to award those 55 contracts within 60 days, which was kind of hard to do, but it was something that we're bragging about. So of those 55 contracts, though, 29 of them were awarded to small businesses and 26 to large businesses. So it's a pretty small business friendly contract. We also had an on-ramp to that contract in February of this year, where 32 of those contracts went to small businesses and 27 to large business. So more than half of these contracts on this IDIQ have gone to small businesses. And when I say small, I believe the smallest contractor had 12 or 16 employees. So it is a small business friendly contract. It's very flexible. And the purpose of it is to increase speed and agility of weapon system purchases with the intentionally broad scope that includes the digital trinity. And I know a lot of small businesses had an issue with digital trinity when it first came out. And what that basically is, it's made up of three things, clearly the trinity: the digital engineering and management, agile processes, and open architecture. And for the digital engineering and management, that leg includes the development of a program, digital engineering, modeling and simulation, analysis, and strategies that enable the digital engineering ecosystem to mature in a future effort. For the agile processes, that part of the Trinity, it includes management, software development, validation, verification, and technical order development. So when I say there's three parts of it, some contractors clearly are, they're like tech order writers, and then we have some that do other things. So that's why there's so many contractors involved in this contract, and they each do various things, but we do need all of them. So the open architecture part is the part of the Trinity that includes open systems architecture and designs to include weapon open systems architecture, or WOSA, to support the rapid and affordable insertion and integration refreshment of technology throughout the modular open design. Available software tools and formats in the digital engineering ecosystem. We are expecting to do another on-ramp around February of 2023. So if you are interested in getting involved in this contract, you can probably, well, you can in SAM, you can still see all of the documents that were involved in the initial contract and the first on-ramp. And you can go through all those documents, all the questions and answers, and see if you truly are interested in it and see where you actually fit into this, because I think there's room for a lot of people in this. Okay, last but not least, for opportunities. So I know all of the weapon systems that we have, those are already ongoing and in sustainment mode, but the opportunities that we have include the EWOC, the future on-ramp for the EWOC, and also our Armament Directorate is hosting a weapons conference that we affectionately call WEPCON, and the dates for that is July 20th and 21st. At the end of the weapons conference will be a weapons pitch day, and the topics include digital engineering and commonality. This will it'll be direct phase 2 awards with up to $1.8 million each. And you can find all the information on our armaments website, which is www.airforceweapons, spelled out, airforceweapons.com. And when you get on that webpage, you'll also see a link to the BAA, which is the announcement for the SBIR contracts, and a lot of background information and instructions as well. So if you're interested in that, please go to airforceweapons.com. And if you are interested in getting in touch with us, you can go, Luke, you could send a message to Luke and he will make sure that we get it. We do have an email for our office. It's got a lot of slashes and dashes, so I think it's just easy to go to Luke because he already, you already know his address. So Luke, I'm going to send it right back over to you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Anita. I appreciate it. Yolanda, I know looking over the chat, if you don't mind putting the connections in for your information. I put oh, there you go. Great. Hey, Anita, I'm going to kick it back to you real quick. I know I want to follow up with each small business director, but since you were the last one, I figure you really don't need a break. So can you kind of talk to what you're doing, trying to get new contractors that haven't done work on the base, kind of what you've done with pitches and stuff over?
Yeah, so not in our AFLCMC branch, but in our AFTC branch. Okay, so you heard in the introduction that we have 4 of the centers, 4 of the Air Force Materiel Command's 6 centers are down here at Eglin. And so of those 4, the AFTC Air Force Test Center is the one who actually runs the base. We are all tenants under the 96th Fighter Wing, and they are 96th Test Wing. And so the test center is the one who runs the base. So our operational contracting, what would be a squadron, is the Air Force Test Center operational section. And to get contractors into here, we have been doing, we're trying to do it quarterly, but so far it's semi-annually. We have been doing pitch days for construction, and it'll be 2 days long, where a new contractor who has never had a contract on Eglin, or at least they have not had one in the last 2 years, will be able to come in, and for 15 minutes they will pitch to the head of the engineering. There's 3 different engineering teams on Eglin, so each of those teams do a different thing. So there's usually a representative from each one of those teams in there, as well as contracting officers who buy construction. So that is a 2-day event that we've been doing. Our last one was the end of April. We're hoping to do another one before the end of the fiscal year, because it's always good to have new companies come into a base to do the construction. And I know down here we have a lot of issues with Tyndall Air Force Base being just an hour down the road. And I don't know if you recall, but it was destroyed in 2018 by Hurricane Michael. So in the rebuilding process for Tyndall, a lot of subs and construction crews are focused on Tyndall, where Hurlburt and Eglin Air Force Base, which are right here within 6 miles of each other, we tend to lose out on the construction contractors that are going down there to work. So we have been doing this in order to generate new contracts, new contractors into the Eglin Air Force Base family, so that they can get a feel of who we are and what we're doing. We try to compete everything for the first 3 quarters, and then we'll save the last quarter for like our sole source opportunities. So it's always good to meet new folks, because it feels like, when you get to the end of the fiscal year, you're constantly, you keep going to the same few contractors that you know. So hopefully we're going to have more contractors that we know by bringing in these new folks.
Great. Thanks, Anita. I appreciate it. I know you have a strategic partnership with Cindy Randall, and she's the small business director for the Air Force Test Center, which does quite a bit of work down at Eglin Air Force Base, which is great. And then also Anita's really plugged into the whole small business directors. She was at Global Strike Command and has a lot of good contacts there. So a lot of times I'll reach out to her if somebody has a question on that, or she's been on various boards through Secretary of the Air Force Small Business and training and events like that. So thank you, Anita.
Yes, I just say one more thing. If you do need to know anything about any of these bases down here in the Panhandle, I've got a finger on everybody. I can find someone for you, or maybe look something up in SAM for you. But if you're having trouble with anybody down here in the Panhandle or getting a hold of people, just email me and let me know, and I'll reach out to them. Or I know almost everybody. Maybe the Naval Air Station Pensacola doesn't seem to have a small business person, but I can find somebody for you there too.
Great, thanks, Anita. I appreciate it. I'll go ahead and go back up to then Jeff Emmons. I know sometimes you get various questions about, NAICS code and how you determine that. But then I guess a follow-up question for you is the small business panel. You talked about New Horizons, and I know that this year we didn't do one, but next year, do you have any idea of what you're going to have on that panel, or a little bit more details on that, or what you're looking to do? Over.
Yeah, we're still fleshing that out, Luke, right now, and that. But in the past, we've included all the PEOs and such, all 3 PEOs I mentioned. We also have usually an SBA representative, and that 2 years ago we invited in the Small Business Innovation Research Points of Contact here at Hanscom Air Force Base for the different PEOs, and have also had in the past PTAX, our PTAX Stanley Grip, who's out in Amherst, Massachusetts. And then also if GSA has a large competition or is bringing on a new IDIQ contract, or one of their other schedules in that, we had the gentleman for the MAS, the multiple award schedule, a few years ago, and for that. Then, as I mentioned, no date's been set, but usually it's in late March timeframe, early April, and whether it's going to be virtual or whether we're going to hopefully do it in person, knock on wood. There, it's usually held at the Newport Marriott on Route 128, which that's what the locals call it. It's actually 95, and that. So we'll have more information coming out about that, and about the overall. And we usually do our panel either before or after the New Horizons event, and it's not part of it, but it's always good and such an event for us. So we get from 100 to 200 contractors there, very brief introductions and that, and we go right to the questions there. So thank you very much for that. As far as NAICS codes go, we're right up front with our PCOs and our IPTs on those, and in selecting the appropriate NAICS if we have a new acquisition in that. So we do training with our PCOs and our entire PK community about that. And we also ask for all our PCOs to put a memo in the file with our small business coordination record on why they selected that NAICS code and such. And usually the best match we have there with the NAICS description and that. So, and anything else there, Luke?
Yeah, actually just wanted to follow up. So what happens if for some reason I wasn't able to attend the New Horizons virtual conference this year? Are we able to reach out to you to get information on requirements, or how do you go about getting that information? Over.
Sure, they can. Anyone can go ahead and reach out to you. We use that during that conference, and that all of the PEOs are providing all of their opportunities for the coming year. So you can reach out to Andrea, myself, or Zakia Norris, who's embedded down there in San Antonio with the crypto and cyber division.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. I'll go ahead and go back over then to Yolanda McCain. I know you started in February, so you're the newest small business director, but I know everyone knew Denise, still surprised that she retired, but I know I'm really excited about some of the things that you're looking to do. Can you kind of talk to some of the things you're looking forward to doing? You've been in the position, you spent quite a bit of time down at Business Enterprise Systems as a contracting officer and really working on those innovative acquisitions, and kind of your take on what you're looking to do from a strategic communication and helping small businesses out. Over.
Sure. So I'm looking to continue to grow the success that Denise had. As you said, everyone knew Denise, and we all loved her. I worked with her very closely during my time, my 13 years almost here at Gunter. Some of the things that I'm looking to do is to broaden how we communicate and provide opportunities and information about upcoming opportunities to our industry partners. For instance, I'm looking to, with the SMART Guide, and that's the guide that we use to communicate what are upcoming opportunities within BES within the 18-month time frame. So normally that is a biannually publication. We're looking to do a quarterly update to that so that we're providing more relevant information and just kind of keeping industry aware of things in a more timely manner. It is, contract awards are day to day. And so it's difficult to keep it up to date every single day, but we feel like quarterly will certainly go a long way in terms of providing some of that more up to date and relevant opportunities for our partners to view and then assess. One of the other things that I'm looking at doing is starting a podcast. And so the purpose of that podcast would be to just have that quarterly connection with our industry folks, letting them know some of the things that we're doing in BES, as well as supplementing some of the outreach programs. I anticipate having guest speakers on the podcast, doing some training, some mentoring opportunities, and facilitating connections between industry partners with BES. So those are just a couple of the things that we intend to do, or that I intend to do short term with BES. But overall, my goal is really to come in and continue to build that bond, tell that story of small businesses, their abilities and the capabilities that they bring, the innovative opportunities that we really have from our small business community, sharing that with our program offices, and just advocating that as we're developing different strategies for some of our largest acquisitions down to some of the very small ones, let's ensure that we're always upfront considering how we can provide opportunities for our small business partners to participate and benefit from some of the solutions that they actually bring to us. So that is my goal.
By the way, how's Denise doing with retirement? Over.
She is doing very well. I spoke with her over the weekend. We spoke about my children. My daughters play soccer. So bottom line, she was calling to check and see how our soccer finals went. But she's doing great. Her granddaughter is about 9 months old. And so she has a puppy and the granddaughter, and they are both keeping her very busy. But she does appreciate adult conversation, as she says, Monday through Friday from time to time. So
yeah,
she's doing well.
That's great to hear. Yeah, good. Yeah, I know she was in the position for a long time, but we're so excited to have you on the team and glad she's doing well. I know, Joni, we're kind of coming up on time. I just wanted to mention I'll be at the Cybersecurity AFMC Small Business Collider coming up. I'm going to be a little late, but I know just looking through the chat and stuff, it was just getting you updated links to the information and then opportunities that we talked about that you needed. Anything else that you'd like me to touch on, Over?
I do have a question for Anita. How much of the IDIQ EWalk has been obligated, and how many opportunities have been released on that IDIQ? Over.
That's a good question. The last time I looked was about 3 weeks ago, and there were only 7 task orders. I can't tell you how much they were, but I did look at 5 of them went to large businesses and 2 to small businesses. So that's not exactly a success story. But when I brought this up, it was, no budget. We don't have as much money as we thought we'd have, and those sort of things. So hopefully it's going to take off and do a lot better than it currently is.
Wonderful, thank you. Yvonne, are there any other questions in the chat? Over.
I don't see any other ones. And thank you very much for posting all of the links to the events that are upcoming. We'll find a way to get that up on our Wild Apricot website too, or Dayton-Wright AFCEA chapter website.
wonderful. Thank you, Yvonne. I want to have a special thank you to all of our distinguished guests for today for a discussion in our 2022 luncheon series. As a thank you, the Dayton-Wright chapter is making a donation to the Fisher House in each of our speakers' names today. We'd also like to take this time, I personally would like to take this time to personally thank everyone for allowing me the opportunity to serve as the Vice President of Programs over the last 2.5 years. It's been a great experience, and I hope that you will all continue to support FCEA and our new VP of Programs, Claudia Aspera, in her new role as VP of Programs. So I hope to see you all at the in-person luncheons, and I hope you all have a great Thursday. And please remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in the upcoming holiday for Memorial Day weekend. So with that, I will leave you all with a wonderful Thursday. Thank you for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joni.
Thanks, everyone.